And I previously reviewed the REDTIGER F17 Dash Cam, which has a front, rear, and a cabin camera. If you guys want to see that full review, I'll put a link to it in the description down below. On this video, I'm going to give you a complete tour of the menu for this dash cam, as well as my personally recommended settings for it. I'll also place a link in the description to this dash cam in case you guys want to look at it further or acquire one for yourself. Now, there are buttons in the bottom. Tapping any of them is going to bring up this menu. The button that we want is this button right here, which looks like a gear icon. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that menu up, and then I'm going to tap this button right below the gear icon, and notice that the dashcam stops recording and gives us access to the settings. And the first setting is going to be resolution, and here you get the choice of running the front camera at 4K while the cabin and the rear stay at 1080p, or you can reduce the resolution to 2.5K for the front camera and 1080p for both cabin and the rear. Now 2.5K is still pretty good as far as image quality, and you can potentially fit a lot more into the memory card by leaving it in this resolution. And if you bump it up to 4K, the files are going to be larger, so you're not going to be able to carry as much video on the dash cam. So I would recommend recording in both resolutions and seeing which one you like best, especially if you consider the advantages of potentially carrying more video at a slightly lower resolution than 4K. Now, something interesting is that if you choose not to use the rear camera, then you get the following choices for resolution: 4K for the front, while the cabin stays at 1080p, or you can run both the front and cabin at 2.5K each, or finally 2.5K for the front and 1080p for the cabin. Next up is gonna be formatting the memory card. Now this option can be used to delete all the videos on the memory card at once by hitting confirm and then OK. Now this is also recommended to be used when you install a brand new memory card. You always wanna format it inside the dash cam. Next up is loop recording. Dashcams record video continuously, but they segment that video into smaller, manageable clips of video. And here you can select how long you want those video clips to be: 1 minute in length, 3 minutes in length, or 5 minutes in length. Now, I personally like to use 3 minutes, but this is just a matter of personal preference. If I go with 1 minute, I'm gonna end up with a lot of little files that are 1 minute in duration. 5 minutes is gonna reduce the number of files, but the files now are larger in size, so I find 3 minutes to be a nice in between. Moving over to clock setting. Now this dashcam is GPS enabled, so that means that this information is gonna be automatically pulled from the GPS, but you could manually enter the date and time if you wanted to change that. And the next option is time style, and here you get to select between 24-hour format or 12-hour format if you want time in AM PM style. And I mentioned that the dashcam sets the clock automatically based on the GPS, and it's gonna do that if you set the correct time zone. If you set the incorrect time zone, you could potentially end up with the wrong time and potentially even the wrong date. Moving over to language, this allows you to change the language of the dashcam, and there's quite a bit of languages in here to choose from if you wanted to change it from the default one. The next option is gonna be Wi-Fi. Now I'm not gonna hit OK, but if you hit OK, you can turn the Wi-Fi on and also see the Wi-Fi password information. And the next option is just a QR code in case you wanted to scan this to download the app. Moving over to G-Sensor, this allows the dashcam to detect when you get into a car crash based on how hard the car got impacted. Now, if I set the G-Sensor very high, then any little bump on the road can potentially make the dashcam think that I'm crashing left to right, and you may want to lower down to medium. Now, in some cars, if the suspension is very harsh, especially sports cars and also cars that have very large rims or low profile tires, you might even have to set it to low. That way the dashcam is not so sensitive, thinking that you're crashing left to right. Now, you could also turn off the G-Sensor, but I do not recommend you turn off the G-Sensor. When the dashcam detects that you get into a car crash, it's gonna flag that video as important and protect that, and that is only gonna be done if you have the G-Sensor enabled. Now, if you have the G-Sensor off, the video is still gonna be there, but it's not gonna be protected, and you don't wanna lose video of car crash. I would definitely recommend that at the very least you run this on low. Moving over to the next page of settings, you got GPS information. There is nothing to change on here. This just shows you the current coordinates of where you are located at. The next option, Screensaver, allows the dashcam to turn off the screen while it continues recording in the background, and you can set on here after how much time you want the screen to turn off, either 1 minute, 3 minutes, or after 5 minutes. I like to have my screen on all the time, so I keep mine on off. Moving over to rear camera flip, this is an adjustment for the rear camera, and this can help to correct for how it was installed on the vehicle. And here's what my rear camera looks like. Notice the vehicle and notice the street, and notice what happens if I change that setting now. I'm gonna stop that, and then I'm gonna go back over here to the rear camera flip, and I'm gonna switch this to on, and notice what happened to the image. It got flipped, and now everything is upside down. If the rear camera was mounted upside down, turning this on would have corrected for this issue. But on my vehicle, because of the way that the rear camera is installed, this setting is gonna be set to the off position. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this back to off. Now the next one, mirror flip, is also an adjustment for the rear camera, and I currently have it set to on. Let me show you how that looks. And what you're looking at the car, and notice the position of the street and the car. I'm gonna go back over here, and I'm gonna change that setting. And it's called mirror because it literally mirrors the image. So I'm gonna go over here, mirror flip. I'm gonna change this to off, and notice what happened. Things got flipped. Now this car that used to be here, now it's over here. Now this technically doesn't matter. This is almost a matter of preference, but I like to have mine in the other way. That way it looks like if I was looking through a mirror, if I was looking through my rear view mirror. This right now does not look like if I was looking through a mirror. Things are in the opposite direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this back to the previous setting. Now the reason why I like to have mine as if it was a mirror, that is if I wanted to use this dash cam or sort of as a backup camera. If I were to back up, I could use this right now because now this matches the way it looks like in real life to me from where I'm sitting on the driver's side seat. Next up is gonna be flicker, and this is gonna be set to 50 Hz if you're in Europe, or you wanna select 60 Hz if you are in the United States. And all it does, it helps to reduce any kind of flickering on the video from any lights that the dashcam may potentially record. Next up is gonna be click tone, and all this thing does, it enables a beep every time you change something or click something. I'm gonna turn this off. Next up is gonna be sound recording, and some people don't want to have their conversations recorded. They just want video, and here you can turn off sound recording. However, I personally like to have sound recording on because I think it's a good piece of evidence that supplements the video evidence. Next up is the startup sound, and this just turns on or off the sound that the dashcam makes when it turns on. Next up is date stamp. Now the videos that are recorded are gonna have a watermark with the date on them. If you don't want to have that date on them, you can turn this off. However, again, because the dashcam is meant to record evidence, I personally like to leave that date stamp on. Next option is gonna be speed stamp. Now this is also a watermark that is gonna be shown on the video, showing the speed that you were traveling at, and some people don't want to have their speed recorded, and here you can turn this off, or you can turn this on if you want to have that video show your current speed. Next up is gonna be format reminder, and this allows the dashcam to remind you every so often to format your memory card, either every 15 days or every 25 days. Now the reason for that is that dashcam manufacturers recommend that you regularly format your memory card so it works its best. Now I do have plenty of dashcams where I don't regularly format my memory card and they're still working out okay, but I do recommend that you follow the manufacturer's recommendation and format your memory card regularly. Now, before you format the memory card, you want to make sure you download any important videos that are on there if they're important to you, otherwise you will lose them. The next option is DST. If you happen to live in a place that observes daylight savings time, here's where you can add or subtract an hour every time that time changes. And the next option allows you to turn off the cabin camera. Now, why would you want to turn off the cabin camera? Perhaps you want to fit more onto your memory card. So if you turn this this off, you are now only recording the front and the rear, so therefore you can fit a lot more into the memory card because you're only recording 2 channels versus recording 3 channels where you will record the front, the rear, and the cabin. And the next option, IR LEDs. This controls the night vision, and that is for the cabin camera. Notice that there are 4 lights right here, and these lights are for night vision. They're not visible to us, so you cannot see them, but they are visible to the night vision. And you could choose to turn those off, but I do not recommend that you turn those off. I will recommend that you keep it on, or my preferred setting on auto. Now, what is the only advantage of turning this off is that night vision tends to give the video recorded a black and white look. If I turn this off, the video recorded at night is gonna be in full color, however, it's gonna be quite dark. And if I leave this on or auto, the video coming from this at night is gonna look very nice and clear, but it's gonna look a little bit more like black and white. Now, normally when you're recording evidence, sure, it would be nice to have color, but what good is color if it's so dark that you can't see? So that is the reason why I like to keep my night vision enabled. The next option is gonna be speed unit, and this allows you to change between kilometers per hour or miles per hour. Fatigue reminder allows the dashcam to remind you every so often to take a break from driving, and that could be either 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or you can turn that reminder off. Now, the next option, car speed, allows you to test the memory card that you have loaded on the dashcam, and the reason for it is that some memory cards are too slow for dashcams. You gotta get the right memory card, and this allows you to confirm if the memory card that you have installed on the dashcam is gonna be fast enough or not. And you can use the next option to reset the dashcam to its default settings. Perhaps you changed something and you don't know how to get it back to normal. Here's where you can reset the dashcam back to its factory defaults. Next up is parking mode, and this is enabled with the optional hardwire kit. Now, in here you'll notice that you get time lapse or G sensor. Now, on G sensor, the dashcam is gonna go to sleep when you turn the vehicle off, and the dashcam is gonna wake up if the vehicle suffers an impact, and it's gonna turn on and record video of that event. Now, if you change that to time lapse, the dashcam is gonna stay on when the car is off, and it's gonna record a time lapse, and that time lapse can compress many hours of video into a time lapse. You can select to create a 12-hour time lapse recording or up to 24-hour time-lapse recording. So here you want to think about what you're trying to capture. If you're trying to capture hours and hours of video where potentially nothing may happen, but you want to have that video coverage, you want to select time-lapse recording. If you just want to have your vehicle be protected as far as if something happens, I want my dashcam to turn on and record when there is an impact, then G sensor is going to be sufficient. Now, if for some reason you store the car or you feel like you do not need parking mode, you could also choose to turn this off. The next icon, Help Center, just gives you the contact information for REDTIGER if you need to reach out to them. And this guy right here, product information, this is gonna show you the current software that the dashcam is running. So hopefully this video helped you understand all the settings for the REDTIGER F17 dashcam so you can use it to its full potential. And if you're curious to see the rest of its features, make sure you check out my full review for this. I'll put a link to that video in the description down below, along with a link to this dashcam in case you want to look at it further or acquire one for yourself. And if you guys have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel and stay tuned as I have a lot more dashcam reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.